It's the Vynyl Countdown! Starring Jonathan Boyd!
This is like an orchestra playing behind Jim Morrison. You can't hear the guitar. You can hear the keyboards because it's Manzarek. You can't hear anything else.
Oh, Woodsy!
How do you expect me to get a VB from something called the Soft Parade?
Oh.
And I didn't.
C. Dizzy!
I'm stuck on the fiddle. It's in my bones.
Fiddle stick.
Yeah.
J.H.O.
I remember going to National Record Mart over there, the Fort Steuben Mall, and buying it on cassette. You know, and just being so let down when I heard it. But at the same time, I kept listening to it.
Davey B!
I never listened to a Doors album all the way through. I was like, you know what? I don't think I ever have either.
Musical guest, Toad the Wet Sprocket! And your host, Paul Stanley!
And each one of us is proud to be Americans. We live for it, and we will fight for it, and we will die for it!
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Stanley!
God gave rock and roll to you! I got a feeling! Can you help me, please?
What you playing, man? What you hearing, man? What you rating, man? Vinyl owner. Vinyl boner. 2-hour drinking is on. Time to hear that song. Vinyl Countdown. Vinyl Countdown.
You guys are idiots.
Jackal's good.
I saw Jackal at Woodstock.
I think Jackal's in town here next weekend.
I was like, oh, why not? Jackal was going to be here Sunday. I think
Chris just saw him.
Jackal on the road.
It started in Baltimore. They're going right down I-70 till they get to California.
My favorite Jackal story is when Dave and Jack came out to see Pearl Jam like 6 years ago. It was like either the morning of the show or the morning after the show. And like Jack hijacked my iPod and started playing Jackal. I didn't even know I had Jackal on the iPod.
I think it was both nights. Both mornings.
Was it both morning? Each morning woke up with
there was a
Jackal.
lot of
Music
Jackal.
and play Jackal all day.
There was a lot of Jackal being played when we went to
There's a
Indiana.
lot of Jackal that Pearl Jam weekend, man.
Yeah, we did listen to Jackal. I just remember thinking it was really funny at 3 a.m. that seemed to be the most appropriate out of all the discs you had. You go, oh man, you got Jackal. Let's do this.
You guys are idiots.
The Soft Parade has now begun.
It's the Vinyl Countdown. We're going to do the Soft Parade. In the house, making bacon in the back there is Chris Wilson.
C. Dizzy!
John Boyd here.
Hey.
Johnny B.
Jonathan Boyd!
Old Woodsy.
Woo!
Old Woodsy!
Dave Braceland in the house too.
Davey B!
I'm out here in Indiana getting ready to go to the pool in an hour because it's summertime.
Who gives a shit tonight? Not me.
You should mention that Dave prefers Peter Chris shout-outs to the Paul Stanley.
Peter Chris actually was turned down. He wanted to be on Vinyl Countdown. We said no.
I really have been rock bottom.
Don't call us anymore, Peter.
At the end of every podcast now, we say our apologies to Peter Chris. We couldn't fit you in this week.
Listen to the engines hum.
Alright, so I picked, here's the thing, I picked an album here. I got stuck in the listening booth by Boyd because I hated Al Waite on 1984. And that was more of a
That's
sin
not why you got
than
stuck there. I just went in reverse order.
You
I was
should have
worried
shown
with the
our
Soft
White a little
Parade.
more respect. I was all for sticking you in the booth. Michael McDonald.
You should have
wrote it.
loved Michael McDonald.
Michael
the whole
McDonald.
Michael McDonald role, yeah, that kind of thing.
There's a girl sitting on this guy's shoulders over here, and this guy cannot figure out why his shoulders are soaking wet.
J.H.O.
I had like 4 or 5 albums that I was like wrestling with. I had the self-titled album about the band. I had something by the Dead, and also I had
Good choice. Glad you did.
Stella, this year's model. And so I asked Adam, and I was like, "Hey, pick which one you want me to do." And he said, "Let's do that." He's like, "You got to do this year's model." He's like, "I'd love to hear a podcast about that." So that's why we're doing the Soft Parade by the Doors.
you just entered the sassy zone.
Hey, Adam, eat it.
That's right.
I give just a quick insight real quick. For me, the Sock Parade, it's not my favorite Doors album.
Thank God.
My dad had a bunch of Doors on the album. The debut, self-titled debut, which is I still enjoy listening to. He had Strange Days. He had Morrison Hotel, LA Woman, and Weird Scenes Inside the Gold Mine, which was a compilation album. So the Sock Parade was always this album that I never had until I got older. It's just like one of those albums I love to go back to once in a while.
It's
Not because it's great, but I just like to go back and listen to it.
Could you repeat that? He's alive and well in Argentina.
Who wants to start off?
Justin, because I know what your review is, and I know mine's close, I want to try to separate those two as much as possible.
Sassiest building in Sassy City.
Oh, Woodsy!
This is the first Doors album I've ever listened to.
Really?
Yeah. And it did not make me a Doors fan. If that was if that was going to be the fulcrum to switch it, that didn't happen.
You guys are always picking on Mike. Yeah, thanks a lot, Pete.
I know some of the songs. I didn't have a problem with any of their songs. They're just always, pretentious. And I didn't like Ray Manzarek's attitude. When he was on Letterman, he was talking more about Ray Manzarek than he was about X.
This cantata utilizing this poetry from the 12th century.
Oh, excuse me, I forgot.
Stroking Jim Morrison's ghost's penis as much as he could at any opportunity he could.
We talked about Iggy, we talked about Van Morrison, we talked about Mick Jagger, but he already had a job.
So I start off with a song I've never heard, Tell All the People. And I was really happy that 52-year-old Jim Morrison got to sing a duet with 20-something-year-old Jim Morrison in the same very song. So that was great. That was so weak. Touch Me, I like. I'm sure if I was chopping up a rail of cocaine, I would like it even more because that's what it sounds like the soundtrack to. Shaman's Blues. I kept expecting to see Spider-Man swinging in front of the same scenery over and over again right after I heard the beginning of that.
That's what I felt too.
Do It reminded me of a Monkees or a Guess Who song, but not nearly as good as a Monkees or a Guess Who song. Easy Ride, I don't know where he was going with that, but he started a song. So you flip, Wild Child starts off pretty good. I didn't mind that. It's probably the best song, or at least the song I like the most on the album. Runnin' Blue. Man, it actually was going to be my favorite song on the album until that guy starts doing that Dylan parody.
Who was that, Justin? Who is that?
That's Robbie Krieger.
I don't know if he's making fun of Bob Dylan or if that's Robbie Krieger's voice. But it starts off Morrison's voice in the horns at the very beginning before that first Hillbilly Dylan interlude.
Yeah.
It could have been a really good song. I liked it.
I didn't mind it as much.
Then they switch into that, and I go, well, I'm done.
Quicksand. Dangerous. How do you know? I'm stuck.
Wishful Sinful, he was rambling. And then Sock Parade begins, and he starts off so bold, and then he doesn't have a message except to scream at me.
You cannot petition the Lord with prayer!
And the whole time I'm listening to the way that they're in and out and changing tempos and everything, I start thinking that the Doors at some point voted, hey, let's become a Motor Lodge bar band.
Who writes that stuff?
I don't think they knew what they were doing or what their personality was going to be from that point forward.
This is sandwiched between Waiting for the Sun and Morrison Hotel, and there was definitely a point in their career where I don't think they knew what was going on.
Well, no, I did. I also called in a Doors expert.
Who's your call? Who's the Doors expert?
Tim Stoops. Tim Stoops was a huge Doors fan. I remembered back from the junior high school days, so I sent him a text. I need some info. Lots of lesser-known tracks and a shift in their sound. Not my favorite album by any means. By the time it came out, the Doors were already struggling with Morrison's ink.
I just stepped in a big pile of sass.
Because I think a month after this, he went and exposed himself in Miami.
Yeah, he wanted to get the tour off to a good start.
Well, I don't want to tell you how to live your life.
I
I'm going to drop my vinyl boners on this. 3.
Oh, man.
Would you repeat that?
3.
Ouch.
You guys are idiots.
So what you're saying is you would not recommend the Soft Parade to anyone who's never heard the
I'm never going to recommend it. It's ridiculous.
Davey B!
When you said you picked this album, like when I saw that,
Right.
I was like, I bet this was a Johnny Toledo favorite. I'm like, this had to be.
No, we didn't even have this.
Well, that's what you're saying.
Toledo record collection. He was even smart enough not to have it.
And that's why I was kind of like surprised when I started listening to it, because it kind of reminded me of the Janis Joplin album that we listened to. And of all the albums that we've listened to so far, this is by far my least favorite.
That pistol down your pants.
Well, for me, I mean, Touch Me, like the Doors, I'm not a huge fan, but I like their hits. It's a great pop song. And then listening to like these songs, it's like I said, it reminded me of the Janis Joplin album. Until we got to Running Blue, which I was like, okay, I can get into this. Like,
You're a hillbilly.
Yeah, I am a hillbilly. And
you
like,
wanted more hillbilly stuff. And
it was
less.
Well, no, I just know that
more banjo.
I just know that it was better than the 6 songs that I listened to before that.
Songs, we had 6 or 7 versions of Light My Fire, is played so well by Paul and his band.
Nonsense, boulder dash. We have to be prepared.
All right, maybe we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, and then so I think Wishful Sinful, I kind of gave it a little bit more because of where it followed. I was like, okay, we're getting better.
Did somebody say sassy?
I said, yeah, we've plateaued the stinkiness.
Yeah.
We can't get worse.
So like I was like kind of like, oh yeah, now we're getting good. Soft Parade is going to be great. I've always heard the intro to Soft Parade, but I've never listened to the whole song.
The whole song.
Yes, and then it was just like, oh, okay, you lost me again.
Did you listen to the Soft Parade for 2 hours?
I did not. I did not. In fact, I left the room for a little bit because I think I went out to get a snack or something. And then I came back and I was like, is this still the Soft Parade? This is the best part of the trip. But yeah, of the albums we've done so far, this is my least favorite. I'd
give it a 9.
I'd give it. I'd give it a 3 or 4.
Would you repeat that?
3.5.
I don't know. Maybe John or Chris really like the Soft Parade. Who wants to stick up for the Soft Parade?
I will, but I'm gonna let Chris go first.
Well,
If you could let Chris go first, okay.
I have to go prepare myself for this.
he's got to freshen up. So yeah,
See, Dizzy!
I'm pretty familiar with this album. It's not fantastic by any means.
You've had this? You've had it on cassette or
I had
record
it
or something?
on.
Or
I
CD?
got it. I think I bought it at the pawn shop on CD. It's just like, hey, a Doors CD for $2. Why not?
Talking about!
Yeah, it's all the people. Kind of okay. Like, I see they could have had some potential, but somehow they just managed to derail it. Touch Me is okay. It's just like a classic Doors hit.
Wants to come up here and join us, do some dancing, have some fun. Just get on up here.
I'm with Dave. I like the hits. You know, they're good for me. But then it was just straight downhill from there. You know, Shaman's Blues, I said, was goodish.
I want to see some action out there.
Good-ish.
Goodish. Like, I was like, oh, this could have been good.
I want to see some action out there.
But it doesn't go anywhere, man.
No, I'm just like...
Just like Spider-Man, he just kept swinging in front of that
Yeah,
same building.
I
again
wanted
and
to
again.
go somewhere, but it just let me down. It's just like it's stream of consciousness. I'm throwing out words that are coming into
Wait,
my
let
head.
me jump in for a second, Justin. Is this where he was into his poetry and all that stuff? I mean, is this his poetry?
No, he was out of
No,
poetry.
that's a good question.
He was into his movies.
Poetry
This
by
is he was
now.
filming a movie when it. I'll get to that.
It seemed like he had lost his poetic touch if he had one.
This is your show. Anything you want goes. Now, come on.
How do you feel about Do It there, Chris?
Do
Did
It?
you do it to do it? Or?
No, do it. It gave me one vinyl boner.
Now, listen. Anybody that wants to come up here and join us, do some dancing, have some fun, just get on up here.
Not very good.
Would you prefer this do it or LL Cool J's doing it?
I would prefer LL Cool J.
I want to see some action out there.
Ryan Blue, I like it. I got the hillbilly in me like Dave, so I like the.
That's like 3 songs. Running Blue has 3 very specific songs inside of it. It's like a Yes song where it has all those parts.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
But it's done in 2 minutes and 27
Yeah,
seconds.
unfortunately for them, yeah.
I mean, that Robbie Krieger part is definitely not like the Jim Morrison part.
Well, and then there's the Manzarek part, though.
Yeah.
And he goes, here, watch what I can do on this Moog synthesizer for about 38 seconds.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Where you at, Chris?
Sorry about that.
I'm at Wishful Sinful.
Somebody wants me to get into her pants.
I like my note here. It just says nope. Man, he's just falling apart.
I can't hear you.
And then Soft Parade I like. I gave that 9 vinyl boners.
9?
9 VBs on that.
So that gave you good memories,
Yeah.
even back in the day when you first listened to it.
Yeah.
That was a good jam for you.
I think it's interesting.
Now, if I was like out playing hacky sack in '92 and I heard it and I was all drunked up, I go, hey, you know what? This is the freaky fun song.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, overall, I give it like 4.
Would you repeat that?
Yeah, 4 VBs.
You guys are idiots.
Ladies and gentlemen, Toad the Wet Sprocket.
4 times you came by to not look.
Slayer is dead.
Keep reaching for the
Keep
stars.
reaching for the boners.
No, John's going to tell us why we're all wrong.
Yep.
Jonathan Boyd.
The spin-off of Vynyl Countdown, Why You're Wrong,
All right,
by John Boyd. You cannot give the Soft Parade 3 VB.
You cannot petition John Boyd.
You're all in the listening booth. So here's the thing with this album, right? It's not that anybody's wrong. This album.
It's not that anybody's wrong.
Right.
It's that you're all
It's not that
wrong.
anybody's wrong.
That's right, baby.
6 studio albums, right? And this is the 4th one, right?
Yeah.
So it's right in the middle. The first 3 albums mainly consisted of stuff that Morrison and Manzarek and the other 2 worked on. Most bands have that shoot their wad first album, and then the second album they got nothing, right? Well, the Doors were such a good band that they were able to stretch out their shooting their wad over the first 3 albums.
You don't want to go home yet.
So the Doors don't have their sophomore jinx until the 4th album. But what happened is they come off tour. Morrison's really having a problem with being a star. He really can't handle it. He's getting picked up by people he don't know.
Wait a minute. This is all fucked up. No, wait a minute.
And left drunk and puking on himself.
Do you like being pushed around?
I think he was handling Rockstardom perfectly.
Oh, sassy.
The band and Rothschild and the band couldn't take Morrison.
Who's Rothschild?
He was the producer of all their albums. He held them together. He's the one that kept Morrison from leaving before this album was even done. And Morrison was done. They had a quick session. They recorded most of Touch Me, most of Wild Child, and 2 or 3 of the other songs. All the stuff on there that you hear and go, well, there's good stuff. That was recorded in, say, the first session. Then Morrison disappeared, decided he was going to become a songwriter, and he was done with the band.
I was born right here in Melbourne, Florida, 1943.
He wanted to make these art films out in California. So Rothschild talked him into coming back in. He says to the band, I don't care what you do. I'll do my part. I'm under contract. So the band, mostly Manzarek, they go, well, let's do jazz and blues. The jazz is what goes totally wrong here. The jazz, there's shades of Engelbert Humperdinck in these songs. You know, it's got
You don't talk trash on Humperdinck on this show.
Humperdinck's better than this.
But it's right off the beginning. Tell all the people the Doors aren't on this album. Like you said, they fast forwarded to Jim Morrison being in Vegas, and he showed Elvis what to do on his Vegas tour. After this, Morrison was upset that his legacy was being tarnished. He said, we're scrapping all this blues or jazz, and we're going to concentrate on blues, what Justin mentioned. And then you get Morrison Hotel and L.A. Woman, which
a good album. They're
right.
solid albums.
Morrison got mad at how this turned out because he just let them do
We
it.
went the whole hog, don't we, baby?
Did these guys like each other? I mean,
Yeah, and when Morrison wasn't drunk. And they called him Jimbo. When he was drinking, he turned into a frat boy, and they called him Jimbo. And they go, Jim Morrison didn't record this album, Jimbo did.
I'm not talking about no demonstration.
Now, all that being said, I'm not going to go through it song for song because you guys all covered it all. Wild Child's probably the best song on the album, maybe. But obviously Touch Me gets that credit because it was the huge hit. I'd still defend it as it's a great, I like it as a decent album. It's a terrible Doors album. So I give it 5.5 vinyl boners.
Ooh. Would you repeat that?
5.5, which is the lowest rating I could give them as anything that I would hope we would ever do. If you're going to listen to a Doors album like Jack, please don't make it the Soft Parade be the first one.
Yeah,
it's got to be
which one he needs to start with.
The debut, the Doors.
I've already started. It's the Soft Parade. Play it, brother. Play it, brother.
Not a goddamn thing.
Play it, brother. Play it, brother.
Can I just say this though? If you would have said, "Hey John, I'm thinking about the Doors," and I would have ranked the albums that you should listen to, this is the last album that you should listen to.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. That being said, one of my big problems with reviewing it was I didn't know whether to review it as a Doors album, which makes it terrible, or just as a '60s album, which makes it above terrible.
I got my appointment for 10:30. I go walking in, it's about 10:15. You understand?
I totally would send Chris to the listening booth, but he gave the Soft Parade 9 VBs for the song, so you're safe, Chris.
All right, thank you.
I think my Motor Lodge thing might hurt me. My Motor Lodge bar band.
Everybody else is on notice because there's 8 different songs in here. I constructed this, and then at the end of it said, "Yes, that is what we were looking for. This is beautiful." The Soft Parade, the song, is what keeps me coming back to the Soft Parade, the album, just because.
Agree 100%.
It's so ridiculous.
I agree with that too. They put a 10-minute song.
I found Electric by the Cult to be ridiculous, but this is like a whole other level of ridiculousness right here. Gave this a strong 4 VBs is where I ended up with this album.
Strong 4.
I had a feeling Boyd had listened to it before because I knew he had all the Doors stuff. That's pretty much it. Who wants to go to the listening booth?
You're taking requests.
I'll at the top of the order or something. I'll do it.
No, you're up next, man. I'm sending you to the listening booth because that's the first time we've ever heard a Doors album. You need to go back in to listen to more Doors.
I'm not going to
listen to something even more powerful.
Yeah. I'm only going to listen to the Soft Parade.
I'm
going to say that's my lightning rod for the Doors albums. Play it, brother.
Vynyl Countdown.
All right, so that wraps up this edition of the Vynyl Countdown. Sorry it wasn't the best album I could have chosen there, but I'd like to thank the Vynyl Countdown crew for stopping by. Also, let's give it up for Toad the Wet Sprocket, huh? Yeah. Also, Scott Davis for stopping by, too, doing his Don Pardo impersonation.
Use them as you wish.
Also, 3 members of the Monkees. Sorry Mickey Dolenz couldn't stop by. And also, Jim Morrison, Ray Manzarek, and Phil Hartman. Yes. Thank you all for stopping by. Stay tuned. More Vynyl Countdown coming soon. I hear the Radiohead, the Benz is off the check. That's going to be coming up here by the end of this month, beginning of March. In the meantime, take care and have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.
You don't want this thing to come out and somebody says to you, "Who's that next to you at the Kiss concert? You said you were going to your mother's house."
And Paul Stanley. How could I forget you, Paul? Oh, I'm sorry, buddy. You know I would never forget you.
I'm gonna let my towel hit the floor. I want you to lie down right over here. I'm gonna sit on top of you.
You guys are idiots.